Good morning, students. Let us continue with the next topic, that is timeline. In the previous class, we have discussed up till chronology of events, page number 102, 102. We have another, yeah, somewhere around two more pages. Okay, one, two, three, four. Yeah, somewhere around four, yeah, four topics, two pages. All right. So let's see how much we can cover it up today. I hope whatever has been explained to you in the previous classes, you have gone through the text and also the assignments that has been, directed to be done from your end, and the answers for which are being shared with you on the next day, the following day, so that you can verify the same. And also, in case of any rectification, you can take note of it. Please go through whatever has been, shared, and do as advised. So now let us see the next topic, that is timeline. Page number 102. Look into your text. Timeline is the graphical representation of historical events in a chronological order. I have already explained you what is chronology. So underline that, the first sentence, it is basically a graphical representation of the events in a chronological order. That means it's very much similar to this, what you call chronology of events. In chronology of events, we have discussed that, the arranging these events as per their happening. Same thing out here, arranging the events as per their happening, but the only difference is that you have to represent it in a graphical manner. Okay, that's called timeline. That's the only difference. Now, it looks like a long bar and is used to show events along a period of time. It has events on one side of it and their respective dates on the other side. There's a sample given on page number 103, figure 1.3 on the left hand side. You see, some of the events are mentioned in yellow boxes. Okay, on the right hand side, the dates are being mentioned, and there's an arrow in between pointing, downward. So that's called the timeline. Now I'll just read out the events, and you have to memorize all the events and also at the same time the dates which are mentioned on the right hand side of the events. I'll mark it, it's very important. Okay, you will get questions from this area. So the first event is that early and late Stone Age. When did it happen? When it occurred? It occurred somewhere between 7000 BC. Next, Indus Valley Civilization, that is 2000 BC. Vedic period, 1000 BC. Age of Mahajanapadas and rise of Jainism and Buddhism, that's 600 BC. First Indian Empire under the Mayuras, 322 BC. Ashoka's reign, that's 272 BC. Rise of the Sanghas, that is Sangam age in South India, 180 BC. Rise of the Satavahana dynasty, 30 BC. Kushanas, Indo-Greeks, Scythians and Parthians, 50 BC. BC is also known as CE. So you see somewhere, do not get confused. In some of the places, it's mentioned this, what do you call, BC, right? And I mean, sorry, in some of the places it is mentioned BCE, and in some places you may find BC. So BCE and BC is similar, as I've explained in the previous class, and CE and AD is one. So the Guptas and the Harshavardhana, that's 320 CE, which means AD, right? The Chola dynasty, that's 985 CE. So you have to memorize the, events which took place, and also at the same time their respective dates. Okay, mug it up, memorize it, be thorough with it. Next comes the importance of the geographical factors. What is the role of the geographical factor in history? Let's see. Since time immemorial, India has been capturing the attention of the outside world for its unique geographical features. Not surprisingly, people from foreign lands kept coming into India throughout our long history with their distinct socio-cultural identities. All right, before I proceed, I don't know whether I have told you or not. I think I have told you. Socio, or the term called social science, study of fact, right? Socio, what does it mean? Any idea? I hope you know. Socio or social simply just means society. Okay, that's all. Socio, related to the society. Social. Okay. Now, here in the first paragraph is being said, if you see history, you would notice that it's not only that we were ruled by the Britishers for 200 years. Even there were many other invaders which came to India, and they tried to you know drain all our wealth. Like there was, if you read history, even Portuguese, then some of the French people, okay, they also came India with the same intention. But however, because of their various policies of the Britishers and all, it was them who ultimately took the lead. So if you see that, this, you talk about the French people, you talk about the Portuguese, you talk about the English people. English people means the British people. So all of them, they have got a distinct culture. They have got a different culture from that of ours. Next para. The northern part of the subcontinent is occupied by the Himalayan mountain range, which has acted as a natural barrier separating India from the Central Asian countries. Underline. In the northern part, the Himalaya, what does they do? They act as a barrier and they separate us from the Central Asian countries. Next, at the same time, however, the passes in the, underline the word passes. Okay, I need the answer of this. As I told you in the previous class, in between I'll be asking you to underline some of the new words, and also you can underline from your end as well if you feel that any word you're not aware of the meaning of that particular word. So at the same time, however, the passes in the mountain have served as natural gateways for the arrival of people from the outside, facilitating the intermingling and merger of different ideas, people, traditions, and culture. So this is basically, this line says that this, what do you call, the outsiders, when they came to India, through which route did they come? Because definitely during those days there was no such kind of airways or railways or the present that we have. Yes, road did exist, but not in this present manner. So there were many ups and downs, many kind of obstacles that they had to face. They had to come through different ways. Some at times they had to cross rivers, mountains, forests, and all. This is how they came to our country. And at the same time, when different people comes into a different, into another area, what happens along with the people, it is also their culture, the idea, the tradition that they carry along with them. Now for example, mm, say we the people of Assam, okay, say we the people of Assam, it so happened that say maybe for your study purpose or maybe for your further studies, it tend to happen that you are staying abroad in a different country. So what happens, even if you stay in a different country, that doesn't mean that the moment you start staying in a different country you'll forget your mother tongue, you'll forget your culture, you'll forget your tradition. No. Yes, as per the scenario, as per the environment, the society of that particular area, you will have to get fit into it. But however, your own culture, you will carry it along with it. So that's what this book is saying. That when people come from different areas to another place, it is not only the people who comes in, it's also the culture, the tradition that they carry along with them. Now, another salient feature of the Indian subcontinent is the vast, fertile stretch of the Indo-Gangetic Plain in the north, which is below the Himalayas. It was around this fertile plain that the first human settlement in this region came into existence. Underline. It was around this fertile plain that the first human settlement in this region came into existence. Where? That is the Indo-Gangetic Plain, where it is below the Himalayas. Okay, and it was very fertile. I hope you know fertile. Fertile means which is a good land, especially for agriculture, where you have the different types of all the things which are required, like various what do you call this, minerals, or the, so you can say the various its own natural way of fertilization, so that crops can grow in a better form. And definitely, if you look at history earlier, the first settlements where people stayed, or in simple term, if I say the societies, as I explained you, the first societies like we have out here in North Guwahati, different societies, different areas, like we have this, what do you call, Abhaipur, Kolachok, Razador, right, in this locality. So likewise, here also, this, the people, they first started living near the water bodies, as because of various reasons. First of all, the land was fertile. Secondly, water being one of the most important you know thing for survival. That was another important factor which attracted the people for, as establishing their society, for establishing their settlement near the water bodies. So the first human settlement in this region, okay, that was this, what do you call, it was around this fertile area, that is around the Indo-Gangetic plains in the northern part. Next para. The third major physical feature of the subcontinent is the southern peninsula, separated from the north by the Vindhyan mountain range. So there are different mountain ranges that we have in our country. Like you'll get to know, which is this, yeah, class 6. Okay, I so like as you will go to, I believe it's in class 9 or 10, you'll come to know, the different mountain ranges of the Himalaya and the, what do you call, Aravalli range and all so on. There are various. So this is one of the mountain ranges, the Vindhyan mountain range. And this area, this region is full of mountains, rivers, valleys and plateaus. Okay, look at this paragraph. I repeat this line. The third major physical feature of the subcontinent is the southern peninsula. Underline the word peninsula. Separated from the north by the Vindhyan mountain range. Vindhyan mountain range is a name, okay? So you don't need to underline. You don't have to go for any meaning. It's just the name of one of the Himalayan mountain ranges. And this region is full of mountains, rivers, valley. I hope you know the meaning of valleys and plateaus. If not, underline. Just underline. Otherwise, if I say if not, then most of you won't, right? So underline. Mandate. It's mandatory. It's a must. Okay. Peninsula, valleys, plateaus. Now, during the long course of the history, this area has evolved its own distinctive identity, leading a great diversity to the cultural configuration of the subcontinent. So it so happened that this particular area, that is the Vindhyan mountain range, okay, which is full of mountains, rivers, valleys, and this, what do you call, plateaus. So during the long course of history, during the, this, what do you call, during the past years, it so happened that that particular area has, you know come out with one of its own distinct, different culture, a different identity, okay, and which has got a great diversity within its own self. Next para. In the ancient times, people used two trade routes to travel across the region. Underline, two trade routes. Let's see if the name is being mentioned of those two routes. One of this that linked the Hindu Kush mountain range to the mouth of the river Ganga was called the Uttarapatha. Yes, Uttarapatha, the name of one of the route. Okay, and which were this Uttarapatha? Were it connected? It linked the Hindu Kush mountain range to the mouth of the river Ganga. Underline that as well. Let me also underline so that I can frame questions for you. Yeah. Okay, so let us continue. The other route, which covered the area between Gujarat in the west and Patliputra in the east, was called the Dakshinapat, the second route, Dakshinapat. And which are the areas it connected? It covered area between Gujarat in the west and Pataliputra in the east. I hope you have underlined. Though these were primarily trade routes, people use them for other purposes as well. Okay, so these two routes, as we have discussed just now, that is, one is Uttarapatha and the other one is Dakshinapat. These two were mainly, I'm not saying that only, mainly. These two were mainly used for trade purposes, but it doesn't mean that only trade, along with trade, there were also some, other purposes which carried on through this route. Like, for example, something is mentioned. Look into your text. Let's read. For instance, these routes were used by migrants, monarchs, and military leaders, and also spiritual leaders to achieve their respective ends. All right. So this routes, that is Dakshinapath and Uttarapatha, it was not only used for business purpose. It was also used by different types of people. That is migrants, monarch, spiritual leader, military leader, to achieve their, to fulfill their own selfish goals or whatever motive they had apart from business. Next, we have geographical factors. Let's read. So, the topic C, the importance of geographical factors. So, we're winding up. Let's sum up this topic, this particular topic, last paragraph. Geographical factors also played a significant part in the way of civilization flourished and declined. Underline the word flourished and declined. And use these words, okay? The words which I'm asking you to underline, use it in your daily, like when you speak, when you communicate, and at the same time when you write, even in your answers, you can use this word. Yeah, so geographical factors also played a significant part in the way civilization flourished and declined. The Indus Valley civilizations, about which we shall study later, is a noteworthy example. Fertile plains on the banks of river Indus and its tributaries served as natural means for highly productive agricultural practice. Underline. Fertile plains on the banks of the river Indus and its tributaries. Underline the word tributary, especially circle the word, okay? Because you'll be underlining the whole sentence, so you may miss out. Where am I? Yeah. Fertile plains on the banks of the river Indus and its tributaries served as natural means for highly productive agricultural practice. Subsequently, surplus in agricultural produce led to the birth of urban cities. I mean, urban centers. Underline that. Surplus, and circle the word surplus. What do you mean by surplus? Surplus in agricultural produce led to the birth of urban centers. And this paved the way for the emergence of different classes of craft persons and traders. All right. So in simple term, if I explain you this entire paragraph, it means it is basically because of the fertile plains, okay, which was on the bank of the river Indus, and also its tributaries, okay. One point. Secondly, the surplus of agricultural produce, okay, because of these two reasons, what happened was urbanization started, coming up. More and more urban centers were formed, and because of urban centers, ultimately different classes of people also started coming in. Like, let me give you another example. This, if you see, there are so many people of North Guwahati, even though we reside out here, but you can say all the main workplaces, it's in Guwahati. Likewise, so it's just an example. So likewise, it so happens, if you look at the metro cities and all, if you see there, you will see majority of the people those who are working in metro cities, they don't belong from that particular area. Their native is somewhere else or the other. So why, if their native is somewhere else, then why did they step into that area? Why did they come into that city? It is just for the purpose of, I mean, earning their livelihood. And what made them to come there? Urbanization. Okay. Next we have sources of history. Sources of history, I shall do it in the next class, as because the importance of geographical factors itself is a little lengthy paragraph. Not so much, but a little more, like, so go through this topic for the day. 1 2 3 4 5, yeah, it consists of 5 paragraphs. Be thorough with it, and that is the reason that I'm not proceeding further for today. The remaining we shall see in the next class. Study well. All right, God bless you all.